Today, let's look at some of the perimeter of composite shapes. Sometimes it can be a little bit more tricky than some of the previous questions I've given you. So your handout looks like this. I'm going to work through this question here, and I'm going to work through a similar one to this one. Notice how composite shapes were kind of put together, rectangles and triangles and circles in one way or another. Today's handout, you're going to need to use Pythagorean Theorem. So that's why I chose 1C to use, because we're going to need the Pythagorean Theorem for it. Let's give it a go. Let's see how we do. So here's, it's kind of like a house shape. So we can see we've got some of these values that we need. We have, there's our 5, is right there. We've got our 6. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. We have a 6 here. We have a 5 there. This side, because it is right the same as this one, because they've got the 90s, they both start and end at the same height. So this will also be a 6 centimeters here. Now the tricky part is that this is telling you not a length. It's not part of the length of the shape, is it? It tells me my height from the dotty dash to the top of the triangle. So what it's telling me is just telling me the height of my triangle. Okay, but what we want are these two diagonal lines here. So, how are we going to figure that out? Well, because this is an isosceles triangle with two equal sides, that means that if I drop the height from the vertex up there down to here, that splits it into half. So this section and this section are the same length. So that means this little triangle here, this lovely right angle triangle here, well, it's going to have, this side is going to be equal to 5 divided by 2. So let's just redraw that triangle over here. So it's got a height of 3. It's got a base of 5 over 2, which is 2.5, right? 5 over 2 is equal to 2.5. And what we need is this side right here. So this is where Pythagorean Theorem comes in. So Pythagorean Theorem is going to tell me how to solve this for this long side. So we know Pythagorean Theorem is long side squared equals one of the short side squareds plus the other short side squared. Stick in your numbers. So we're going to have 3 squared plus 2.5 squared. 3 squared is 9. 2.5 squared is 6.25. Add them up gives me 15.25. Let's square root, right? Because that's what c squared is. We need to square root both sides to finish it up. So what is the square root of 15.25? 3.9? 3.9 centimeters. So that means that this lovely side over here, I'll keep it purple. This length here is 3.9, and this length here is 3.9. So now when I go to do my perimeter, let's make that a little bit bigger here. If I start, I don't know, let's start here. I'm going to add up my perimeter. I'm going to 3.9 plus 3.9 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6. So perimeter is going to equal 3.9 plus 3.9 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6. Add them all up and you should get a total of 24.8 centimeters. So there we had our triangle and we had our rectangle, and we actually had two triangles going on in there if you break up the isosceles into two pieces. Now let's look at this one here. So here, if I drop that line down, here I have a rectangle. Oh, and that's an 8 and that's an 8. So that means I've got a square with all my sides labeled. And I also have this semicircle right here. So for my semicircle, to figure out the distance around the outside of that semicircle, that means I need to find my circumference of the full circle, circumference, and we're going to divide that by 2. So a circle, the circumference is equal to, what's it equal to? It's equal to 2 pi r, or it's equal to pi times your diameter. So look to see what we got. Well, there's an 8, so that means this is an 8, so there's my diameter is 8. So the circumference is going to be 3.14 times diameter, which is 8. So let's see what that is. So that gives us 25.15. So that would be as if I had the whole circle, but I don't have a whole circle, do I? No, I do not. I only have the half circle. So when I go to calculate my perimeter, I only want half of that. So I only want the 25.12 divided by 2. And then I'm going to add that answer to the 8, to the other 8, and then to the other 8, right? Because I need this 8, this 8, this 8. So divide that by 2, plus 8, plus 8, plus 8 gives me a total perimeter of 36.56. Find my units here, meters. Okay, so go give it a try. See how you do. Ask me questions if you don't get it.